What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. By the time you're watching this video, we'll probably be maybe 24 hours or so away from the state of play promised for Thursday. I think it's the 23rd of February. This is when the developers at Rocksteady have promised to have some gameplay for their community. And I want to go ahead and talk about some tropes that we've seen so far throughout a lot of the reveals. We've noticed that there are characters within this game. We've talked about, say, maybe even the different Justice League or, corrupted Justice League characters. We've talked about the Suicide Squad members themselves that have been selected to undergo this mission. But there is something that we kind of have to pay very close attention to, which is kind of a neutral party. I slightly mentioned this in my last video because in this particular case, the Flash mentions Lex Luthor. Now, Lex Luthor is actually, or I guess different kinds of tropes surrounding the character have been, in a sense, exhibited since they started revealing this game. But not necessarily have we seen what importance he's going to be playing in a sense, because in today's State of the Play teaser, the Flash specifically mentions to the Suicide Squad members and said to them, if it's, do you want Lex Luthor? Then you need to come and get him. So basically, he seems to be an important, card, basically in all of what Brainiac is doing, or maybe what the Justice League is up to. Now, what that card is, or what kind of a wild card or ace or whatever you want to call it, is left unknown to us, but we're going to try our best to continue to hypothesize, unless, of course, we get more details about the character and some of the plot lines by the Thursday's gameplay reveal, which I don't know how much they're going to show, but let's go ahead and throw it out there. Now, in my last video, I mentioned something slightly, to the effect of, it seems like Lex Luthor is probably going to be, in a sense, some kind of a, in quote, good guy in this scenario where he's going to have the, possible resources to be able to deal with the Justice League and potentially be of some kind of a help to the Suicide Squad members themselves. Some people even alluded, and these are some members of my community here on the Video Game Fight School channel, that if you actually pay very close attention, you're going to realize that within all of these tropes, some people have cited that back in the Arkham Knight game, we started to see Lex actually take on some kind of a sinister role based on the way he was being referenced by the goons on the streets. Now, if you don't necessarily know, or maybe you haven't played Arkham Knight in a long time, the goons on the street were some of the best teasers that the developers actually dropped regarding how, all of this stuff was going to pretty much progress. They first talked about, one of the goons on the street, one of the very clear depictions that Rocksteady was going to move to making a game with Superman in it, was they pretty much highlighted that there was some kind of a freak in Metropolis that they were happy they weren't dealing with. So when they were talking about Batman, I remember that they would cite the freak in Metropolis, and that freak in Metropolis, in quotes, is definitely Superman himself. And then some are even saying that there's a likelihood that Lex Luthor probably funded that invasion in Arkham at that time. And so probably maybe trying to move and, have a power play. In fact, some have even gone in to even hypothesize even more that there is the potential that Lex is probably, in a sense, trying to run for a bigger power play, maybe presidency, and has somehow attracted the attention of Brainiac. So you might want to come on the last video that I made, and you're going to see some of these hypotheses kind of come, into the spotlight. I think it's probably going to be very interesting across the board. If you want to maybe go ahead and engage in the conversation. So, leave your comments. On the other hand, I strongly believe that Lex is going to be this character that comes out in regard to how he eventually, gets things done. He's going to be a pivotal character that helps out the Suicide Squad. Now, let's think about a few things. The Suicide Squad have had access, in a sense, to a lot of different technology, to a lot of different resources that Waller is giving them, but Lex Luthor is on a whole different level with the kind of resources that he has. Almost, if I would say, even more resources than Waller does. If you kind of want to think about it, let's kind of see if we can play this game. You'll realize that Lex is, much more influential, has got much more reach and stretch and, funding than Waller does. Sure, Waller has got, access to the coffers of, dark money and, government, whatever on her side, but Lex is also super influential. So Lex might have the juice. Lex might have something that the Suicide Squad members might need to take on pretty much the biggest foe of the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League game, and that's Superman. Because, you know, you have to think about this as Superman is more than likely going to be, in a sense, a final boss type character, or even Batman himself might be some kind of a final boss character. And if there's one person that can even give these Suicide Squad members an edge, it's probably Lex that's going to be that person. Waller, I don't know where, you know, she stands overall. She might be a big surprise overall at the end of the day. But I think these things really do tie into a really weird backstory telling of all of the Suicide Squad members' experience so far. Because like I also said in my last video, if they had made this game a Justice League game, it will follow the linear trope where the Justice League members are just going after the Suicide Squad, who become all these, you know, big bad monsters. But I guess the way the Rocksteady Arkham universe had already set up Harley Quinn, and for continuity's sake, it made sense to keep some threads. And then now that you're inversely telling the story, it's time for you to show Lex Luthor himself. And then again, you have another possible means of the Suicide Squad members probably being able to retrieve or go get Lex Luthor with the help of a Justice League member that doesn't seem to be corrupted just yet, which is Wonder Woman, and that's Princess Diana. So when you kind of level all these things together, man, there are so many really cool ways the story and the plot and the narrative can go. But at the end of the day, like I said, I wanted to go ahead and just kind of publish these hypotheses of mine and some of yours, and then we can juxtapose and see on Thursday if we're right or if we're 100% wrong, and all of this is going in a whole different direction. It'll be interesting overall how we eventually come to some conclusion as to what's coming, you know, soon. So that's pretty much what I have right now. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Let me know what it is that you think, and hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.